Good evening, everyone. My name is Autumn Long, and as my subject for my paper and presentation, I chose to research the American architect Frank Lloyd Wright. Of all the architects, as soon as I saw the assignment, I thought of a picture I'd seen in the book. I didn't actually remember the name of the architect, or the building for that matter, but when I was thinking of it, I remembered that it was a home that I thought was lovely. It was nestled in nature and had waterfalls, and overall, when I first thought it, my first thought was, oh, I would love to live in a home like that. And so when I flipped back through, I saw that it was by Frank Lloyd Wright, and that he had actually been mentioned several times throughout the semester. At that point, I flipped through, reread about him and how innovative he was as far as his design and influential. Then, doing a little bit of online research, found that the man has designed over 1,000 buildings. So I was very impressed, and hence he became my subject. Frank Lloyd Wright was born June 8, 1967 in Wisconsin. Upon graduating high school, he enrolled at the University of Wisconsin, where he studied civil engineering. In order to pay for his tuition and help out his family, Wright worked for the dean of the engineering department and then assisted architect Joseph Silsby in the creation of the Unity Chapel, an experience that would lead him to drop out of school, move to Chicago, and begin the journey towards a career as an architect. He designed buildings until the late 1940s, when he was actually in his 70s. Wright then died April 9th, 1959, at the ripe old age of 91 years old. In the late 1800s, Wright spent time as an apprentice for Louis Sullivan. That name probably rings bells, as he's considered the father of the skyscraper and is one of the best-known architects in history. It was he who remarked, "Form follows function." That phrase became famous as an explanation for the clean and simple look of skyscrapers, and later kind of became linked to the international style. After a year in that apprenticeship, Wright married an artist named Catherine. He designed her home, which became his first masterpiece. Now it's known as the Frank Lloyd Wright Home and Studio. Wright began designing homes outside of that apprenticeship, and so Wright and Sullivan went their separate ways due to Wright's breach of contract. Not long after, in 1893, Wright established his own practice within his home. During the first decade of the 1900s, Wright was designing the prairie houses, in which walls of dining rooms and dens were either left out of the plan or minimalized. Today, that's developed into the popular open floor plans, which is kind of cool. That right there is a picture of the Wright Home and Studio, which I think is gorgeous. You can see it's very characteristic of the way he works. I'll explain later on his actual independent style, but you can see the horizontals there. It's very, very sturdy, very level. This is a cool story. An accomplishment I thought was particularly cool was that after he was commissioned to build the Imperial Hotel in Tokyo, he boasted it was earthquake-proof. 1 year later, it was put to the test when an earthquake leveled almost all the large buildings in the area. This hotel was left standing, so he was correct. For at least that one, it was earthquake-proof. Built in 1922. Era and artistic style. This one is almost a little bit complicated. He was alive for such a long span of time. Like I say, lived to be 91 years old and designed up until his late 70s. So he was during the late 1800s with Post-Impressionists, 1900s, and the early period with Expressionism between the World Wars, after the World Wars, so all the way through Postmodernism as far as artistic eras go. Now, his particular style was dubbed organic architecture, and basically what that means is that he believed buildings should be created to complement and add to nature, not to destroy or take away from it. And his buildings tend to have strong horizontals and a very natural, earthy feel. Interiors were usually open and spacious. The first building that his style was actually manifested in was the Winslow House, which is right there, in River Forest. That was in 1893. If you notice that year, that's actually the same year that he established his own practice. So that's pretty impressive. It's gorgeous. You can see the horizontals there, and it does definitely have a very natural feel to it. My personal favorite, obviously, is Falling Water. That's why I saved the picture for now. I wanted you guys to be able to, in the slideshow on my muse, the inspiration of me choosing Mr. Wright as my subject. Let's take a look. Designed in 1935, obviously an example of organic architecture. There's beautiful waterfalls and the trees and the stones. Now, it's actually made of native sandstone and other materials gathered from that property, quarried right there, in fact. Now, built in Pennsylvania, it's now become a public museum. People can go there, buy tickets, tour the area. Figure 3 is just a picture of the beautiful property and design. Figure 4 I just thought was interesting and wanted to share with you all. That is a live picture that I snatched off of the Falling Water website just yesterday, and I thought it was kind of cool that I could get a live view of it. They keep it like that so that you can see the site all year round and see like the fall leaves changing, things like that, and check and see what conditions even look like before you go out there. So that's pretty cool, and I thought I'd share it with you all. As far as his style goes, he was so far ahead of his time. I mean, if you just look at his prairie houses, the open floor plan, that's still popular today. He's a modernist in the fact that he challenges tradition, but it's not in such a way. In fact, most artists try to challenge tradition and break rules. I would say that his floor plans are still relevant. I don't know one person who could look at a design like Falling Water and not think that it is a gorgeous home and would pay big bucks to live there. So I would probably call him a postmodernist because I think that his latest designs were in the postmodernist era and I think are still very relevant to the design world. This is my works cited, and I hope you all enjoyed my presentation. Thank you very much.